Okay. Hello.
It's just us.
Does.
All right. So this one, excuse me, this one came through very strong today and early. So I wasn't even really trying to get it, but it was almost like it was waiting for me. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is you won't get a countdown. Forget any dates. It will just change and you along with it. We're under time shadow.
Mm. Yeah. It's like it's not happening and then all of a sudden it happens. That's what it comes through. It's like that really slow, and then all of a sudden.
Well, we've been moving towards it, and I mean, we've been in it, but we're changing too, so it changes our optics.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no countdown to give. We're in it. It's happening. So there is no final countdown to some event or whatnot. I'm not saying that there aren't waves or events coming. There are, but it's almost like we're just going to, keep moving, keep moving. Doesn't seem like we're moving, and then we're going, and then we're just going to keep, and doesn't feel like it, and then we're. There is no countdown to these things. It just people can guess all they want and throw out dates and everything or whatever, but it really doesn't matter. The dates don't matter because it's not based on a date. It's based on us. It's based on what we want, on our intent.
On our energy. Yeah.
All right, so there's that one. The next one is a feeling of lost in time. Time's grip on you eases and brings a serenity of weightlessness. Your intent will play with time, almost like being on a long vacation.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling when you were saying that.
Yeah. So, you ever been on like a month-long vacation? At time you get there, or even a 2-week vacation, you get there, and you feel like you've got all the time in the world. You can do well. It's kind of like that. It's like nothing pressing on you. You can do whatever you want. If you want to stress out, you can stress out. But the whole point of going on vacation is not to stress out, is to kind of play by ear. But there's always the people, in the family who, oh, come on, well, we got to get together for dinner at this time, and then we got to be over at so-and-so's room by so-and-so. Well, that's more power to them. But more and more people just want to play by ear.
I was going to say, most people probably haven't felt that of having no constraint. Because even when you go on a week vacation, you're thinking, okay, I only have 7 days, or I only have 5 more days. Or,
right. And those people are going to get what they get. They're.
Well, it'd be refreshing if they do feel it.
Well, I think they're going to start feeling it. Things are going to crack. They'll stress, and it's just going to crack. And after it cracks, they'll realize what they just went through. And if they need to go through that again in a stressful situation, then it'll happen again, and it'll be even more stressful on a shorter period of time until it cracks, until they finally say, you know what, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel is kind of what we're in. The next one is waking from a perception of living in the past. Most of your perception is of the past by the time you perceive the now. So you've been living in the past and reacting to the now instead of living in the now. Time's delay is built into you through the mind programming of thinking and processing.
Yeah, this is what we talked about the other day. By the time we perceive it, it's already passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's where the system has gotten us. Control of us is through our thinking and processing. We're not living in the now. We're reacting to the now. So the system and the people who operate the system have a jump on us, even if it's just seconds, because they have all their programs and minions and everything working for them to keep us doing the thing. But that's falling apart. That's what this is all about, is kind of shedding light on what's been happening and now what's going on.
Well, what also came up was any emotion, or good or bad emotion, that you carry into this moment is actually from the past. So you're carrying the past into even the moment that you think you're in the moment. You're living in the past, but you're also bringing further past things with you. So it's like we compound the fact that we're not living in the now by what we bring with us into this moment of right now.
Yeah, but that's what we have to face in order to get rid of it. And when we say living in the past, is something happens and then you start thinking. That is time's delay. You're now no longer in the now. And so we live and act mostly in the past. It's reaction to the now.
Yeah.
To our thinking and mind programming and whatnot of what's already happened.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything that we perceive is in the past. So the next one is man-made time has kept us artificially shackled to each other, where the programming in time's delay kept us controlled. The waves of energy are breaking down time and allowing us to connect to the consciousness of now. We won't get rid of time yet in 5D, but we will be impacted less by it and instead be more connected through consciousness.
We'll shorten that delay.
And we'll live more in consciousness because we've shortened that delay away from the now. Because what now is consciousness. And anytime the system can push us away from it, they're taking us away from our power. So what these energy waves coming through are doing is they're helping us bring us closer to the now of consciousness. And that's, things are coming online, things are being awoken because we're getting closer to our power.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the shedding, a lot of the things we've talked about of things surfacing and shedding is to cut those things that don't allow that energy to make you buoy to the higher surface. So anything that's still hanging on that you're facing or you're looking at or that's causing emotion are things that are keeping you from allowing that energy to get you closer to that now moment.
Yeah, we're perfectly capable of living in the now. But when we came to this reality, we gave up some of that power, so that kind of think of it as an escrow account. We took, each of us took some of our power and threw it into an escrow account and allowed, let's just say, the amusement park owners to take custody of our escrow accounts, and then provide us a reality that we could buy into. And that's what we've been living. But now that power that we gave up is starting to come back to us, because that's what the energy waves are. Because the amusement park owners were never going to give us back the powers. They got hooked on it, you know. So universe is actually doing it, because Universe knows us better than we know ourselves. So universe knows when it's time to move on. And that's what's happening. But universe doesn't want to destroy all that we've gone through. It wants to awaken us slow enough that we don't go crazy or lose our mind or whatever. So it's happening this way. Now, each person's actual, reality of awakening is theirs. But everyone is going to come to some kind of awakening. Even if it's, I want to stay here, then that's,
nothing. I mean, it's your choice.
That's your choice. No one's going to tell you what you have to do or whatever, but we still are children of the universe. So universe calls and we respond. Universe doesn't call and we go and do what we're doing. So, all right. So that was that one. The next one is no time to delay paradox. The no time to delay paradox. For those who don't know what paradox is, it's like chicken or the egg. It's a paradox. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? It's a paradox. If the chicken came first, well then, where did it come from? It had to come from an egg. But if an egg came first, then who laid the egg? It's paradox.
Yeah.
So the no time to delay paradox.
No time to delay.
No time to delay paradox. Okay. It's not about hurrying to complete things, but slowing down into the spontaneity of the now.
Okay.
As you slow time's impact on you, your awareness broadens to encompass more options and their associated feelings you can choose from, like dipping your toe in the water before you dive in. As you do this, you forget time. Or you forget time's impact on you.
It's like heard the aperture opens up. I mean, you all of a sudden, everything looks like it's moving in slow motion. Yeah.
Well, in football, in NFL football, or even college football, but in football, when a NFL player talks, when they talk about like when they really got it, when things clicked for them, they call that the game slowing down for them. When the game slows down for them, it's almost like they've got more time. They've got more options, but they call it slowing down time.
Yeah.
They're slowing down the game.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to them. Well, it's very similar to that.
Which, if you've ever been in a situation where you feel like that, you know that it comes from your stillness, not from your hurriedness. Because if you're chaotic, you're not going to feel that. It is from that stillness. Yeah.
Before you get it, as an NFL quarterback, before you get it, oftentimes people will describe that quarterback as being frantic. They get in too much of a hurry and whatever. They're not in their flow. They're perceiving that they have less time than they really do, and it makes them hurried. So, but at some point, they either get it or they don't get it. They get to that point where they slow the game down.
Yeah.
At least for them, so that now they can operate. And it's those quarterbacks. I mean, it just starts clicking for them. They stop worrying about getting sacked and whatever. They're still aware, but they get their priorities straight. They get things lined up, and time doesn't push them to hurry. It actually allows them to relax enough to where they get in their flow. So that one's an interesting no time to delay paradox.
Yeah, that is interesting.
All right, the next one, the land of milk and honey, time's forgotten impact. This will be our world where we forget most of the impacts of time. Our world is one of destruction and creation, organized and sequenced one way, and we get tyranny, corruption, war, poverty, and slavery. Organized and sequenced another way, and we get land of milk and honey once we take back our power over time.
Yeah. Because, right, I mean, if you were to read that, most people would probably jump to take back, or overcome something out here in this world, not time.
Nope.
So, but if, so it would be like taking back this or fighting that, or, versus looking at it from a time perspective.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because the only thing changing for those NFL quarterbacks is their perception of time.
Everything else in the game is the same.
No, because their skills didn't all of a sudden get better.
Yeah.
They allowed their skills to shine because they stopped being hurried by thinking that they have less time to operate. And honestly, it boils down to, doesn't matter how much time you have. The best you can do is to be relaxed into the comfort of your skills. No matter how much time you have.
Yeah.
If you can't operate, if no matter how much time you have, you can't get in the flow of your skills, then it won't matter how much time you have.
Yeah.
And if you can't get into the peak of your skills before you get sacked, and that keeps happening, then maybe you're not meant for the NFL. So it's finding that time. What I think is, you set yourself before you came here that you have everything on your plate that you were supposed to have. It's no more, no less than you need in order to learn the lessons you need to learn. So if you're harried like a brand new NFL quarterback, that's just your perception. So like a veteran quarterback eventually gets to, it's your perception of time that you need to relax on, and then you will get into your flow that is suited for what's on your plate.
Yeah. Yeah, because whenever, if I bring it to the daily life, it's whenever I start to feel chaotic, the best thing I can do is take a walk.
Yep.
Take a breath, take a walk, not try to rush through and do more, because then you just, you feel depleted, you make mistakes, and it's the same similar thing.
Well, if you're in your day and you feel stressed and you start hurrying, and you don't stop yourself and you just keep hurrying, well, you're not giving your best. You're not giving the thing. You actually can't even enjoy it. So would you rather have that and get everything completed that you possibly can, or would you rather get into a groove by relaxing, maybe not getting everything done that you had planned, but everything you did, you enjoyed at least as much as you could enjoy it. And that in the process, you were learning a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
That's the choice I choose. It's not about how much you get done, because what we're really doing here, we're not really doing anything in this matrix world. We're in a hologram that convinces us we're here, so that it seems like reality, so that we can live scenarios and thereby learn. It's VR is what it is.
Where energy is all not. Yeah.
So the best thing you do is quit worrying about getting the most done and get the most quality of living for yourself, whereby you have time to get in your groove. Then you have time afterwards to debrief yourself, to say, what did I learn? What did I learn about myself? Not necessarily about how you can do it better, but how can you experience more? How can you get more from the experiences you are going through?
Yeah.
But it's time's hold on us is what the culprit is. But time's not the bad guy. It's our perception of time. The amusement park we're in this matrix world is, part of gaining access to the amusement park is to give part of our power to that escrow account is, here, you have to wear this. And that's time's delay.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, you can feel the effects of it when you're sitting there and then somebody says, we got to hurry. I mean, you can just feel it in your body. It has such an effect on us. And in talking with others this week, even, there's been something energetically that's kind of bringing this to surface of feeling like you're behind or feeling like you're late or, feeling like you're overwhelmed, and then looking at it going, realistically, I'm not. So it's almost like energies right now are prompting us to see this and make a choice. Are we going to live in this chaos and stress and this feeling of being behind, or are we going to breathe and go, no, I've got this, and I'm going to breathe, and I'll just take the next step. And so it's almost like the energies of the full moon or the planets or what's happening with the rays we're being receiving from the galactic rays are surfacing this for us to feel and see. So if you felt chaotic this week, just pay attention to how it made you feel and what choices did you make. Did you push and rush through, or did you sit back and say, no, I'm gonna take a walk. I'm gonna look at this and settle in and get your own speed and tap into it. Because I think it's coming up right now. I mean, it's interesting that we're talking about time because this is very, very viscerally apparent with many people that I've spoke with this week. So, yeah.
The next one is, we're receiving waves of time distortions that are unraveling our current programmed memories and awakening the consciously connected memories of the ancient sentient beings we truly are. This is the Great Awakening option that has always been available to us. We only needed the intent and will to choose it. The win is but a final time distortion.
Yeah, and how we relate to the win. Are we waiting on it? Are we, our relationship to it?
Yeah. So these waves of energy coming in, there's an aspect of time distortion to them. And that's what's getting through us. We're being sped up to be slowed down.
Yeah.
That's part of the paradox. We're being sped up so that time seems to slow down. And that awakens memories and powers within us, because time no longer has its complete hold on you. Like I said, we're not going to get, moving up to 5D is not going to get rid of all the time. What it's going to do is it's going to give us a huge jump. We're going to go from being this far away from the conscious now to like way up here. We're going to be much closer to the consciousness of now. And we're sped up, but it seems like things have slowed down. And we're going to be able to, in that sped upness, we are going to be able to perceive more in a shorter period of time. We're going to know we have more options. We're also going to know the feeling of those options before we have to choose them or feel like we have to choose them, like dipping your toe in the water before you dive in. And that is going to make your living this reality much more vibrant, much more fulfilling, because you're not going to feel like you're reacting so much to life. You're going to be making more informed decisions and have an inkling of what you're getting into before you get into it.
There's a couple of things rolling through my head, but they're not fully formed.
So some other things to think about here. Time is the weak link in our perception of the matrix.
Mm.
It's the common thread that runs through all of us that holds this matrix together. We can all talk about beliefs, and we can all talk about all that and this and your missions and, you know, awareness and woke and not woke and all that. But really what it all ties us all together throughout this whole thing is time, our perception of time. There are people, not everyone has the exact perception of time, but we're roughly in the same boat. But there are people who've broken away a little bit more, say, you know, Tibetan monks or whatnot. They have realized they've sped up to slow things down. And they've tested these waters.
Yeah. And it's happening. I think we experienced some of this before we realized what's happening too, because if you, I know that, again, talking to others and what I felt myself is feeling like, what day is it? Is it Friday? Oh no, it's only Tuesday, and having no perspective of what time of day it is. So some of those really strong holds to those, what we've agreed to as time, is jumping around already. It's starting to jump around on a personal level. And again, I think it's just to acclimate us to letting go of the grip of time and learning to surf without that, you know, that internal clock of how many minutes or hours have gone by.
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of people, it started with the time synchronicities.
Yes.
Or event synchronicities or whatnot. That to me was a big giveaway. Time.
Yeah.
It started with time. Because how can you have so many synchronicities in such a short period of time? What are the chances that you actually see 11:01, 11:11, 11:22?
Yeah. 11:33,
11:44, 11:55.
It's not like you're sitting there looking at the clock the whole time. It's, you just look at it and it's there. And then we'll talk and then look at it again. It's like the next synchronicity.
Yep. So, but it's time.
It's interesting.
Yeah. The next one is Ascension symptoms are time disruptions in the body.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about this one. Yeah.
So what's happening is your body is not uniform. Okay. There are some areas that are more blocked than others. So these energy waves come in, they have time distortions, or they're disrupting time. And when they hit our body, it's not uniform because of those blockages. So some areas will get a rise in frequency, and some areas that are more blocked, they won't. That's what causes the Ascension symptoms. Is those areas that have those symptoms, there's something about them. It may be this life, it may be a previous life, but something about them probably has. Now, the good thing is you don't have to worry about it. Just be aware of it. Let whatever's going to come to you from knowing that, say, my ear is really, I just noticed that my ear has been, just be aware of that. I mean, if you're getting that maybe you need to flush your ear out with some, you know, isopropyl alcohol and white vinegar, then flush it out. That's what we do when it starts bothering. But I'm not saying don't do it, but don't be surprised if it's just a time distortion that will go away in time.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing you can do is sleep. You know, take a nap and let your cells recalibrate without your consciousness, you know, impacting how they're all being calibrated. Because if you can rest, then a lot of times you'll get that equilibrium again, and then you can start back. But the other thing too is you can ask it. So a lot of things, there's energy, something stuck in it, you know, a memory, something that's buried you haven't dealt with. And like you said, it can be past lives, it can be this life. But sometimes if you just ask it, you know, and in a variety of ways, get it, so it'll come to you. You'll figure it out. Not figure it out, but it'll surface for you to look at, or it'll surface in relationship with someone else, and then you go, oh, okay, I see what it is. So, but those things are unlocking so that your body can release and surface to a new level.
Yeah. Just know that it may not come in the way you think it should or expected. If you can maintain your awareness, okay, it's my ear, and just be open-minded to whatever comes through, and just when you start to get stuff that's a little bit stronger than normal, just see what it's telling you. Because I don't think your higher self would give you these type of symptoms without a way to unravel them.
Right.
In fact, I think part of them coming up is the unraveling. If they're bothering you, they're being unraveled. You just may not be aware that this work is being done, maybe at a subconscious level, but you're dealing with it. The best thing you can do, like I said, is just slow down and be aware of that it's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the next one. This one is kind of out there, but I'll just throw it out there and whatever. Lots of people are aware of Einstein. Okay. Einstein, well, it doesn't. I like reading about him and whatnot. And I'm up on some physics, but ever since I got out of physics from college, I haven't really stayed up with it. I read here and there, but knowing 3D physics doesn't really interest me. But there are some things that give clues. Einstein came up with his theory of relativity, which is E equals mc squared, where E equals energy, m equals mass, and c is the speed of light. Okay. If you look at it, it's saying energy equals the mass of an object times the speed of light squared. Okay. That's a lot of energy that's in an object, because the speed of light is a huge number. It's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means in anything, no matter how small an object, there's a lot of energy stored inside it. Okay. So speed, the speed of light, speed infers a time aspect. So if we can manipulate time, which I say we're already doing, we manipulate all the matrix. But the weakest link in the matrix is actually time. That's my belief. So if we can manipulate time, we can change mass or energy.
Yeah.
Because we're messing with Einstein's theory of relativity if we can speed up time or slow it down, we can change an object's mass or play with the energy associated with that, because we're messing with the basis of the speed of light.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this the other night with the with your intention, being able to manipulate, manifest, move things. Even you were talking about the stones, in Egypt that were moved through vibration. It is, a lot of it is, how do you manipulate the pieces that you can do, which is time, is one of, like you said, one of the weakest links, or one of the biggest opportunities, I'll say, for us to be able to make a difference in that.
Well, think about it. If you're reading, Ascension or Enlightenment websites and articles and whatnot, what's the one thing you hear a lot of? You need to raise your frequency. You need to raise your frequency. Well, remember, frequency is time-based. Okay? So raising your frequency basically equates to letting in more light over a period of time. That's what frequency is. So the formula for frequency is frequency equals the speed of light divided by time. Okay.
Which is 2 time elements in a way.
Exactly.
Time.
So you can then take that formula, and if you do it correctly, you can insert it into Einstein's theory, and you can figure out what happens as you raise your frequency.
Yep. Yeah. We're very powerful beings.
We are, because we are going to break down that, because we can play with time. We could play with all of it, but the trouble is we have to wake up to it first. And I'm saying the easiest and the first thing I believe most of us, I'm not saying we're all going to do it the same way, but I believe the first thing that most of us, when it comes to directly manifesting, is going to be based on time. Because we're already doing it. We're raising our frequency. Whether you know it or not, your frequency is going up. You're dealing with traumas because the energy waves coming in are making you do it.
Yes.
You may not know you're doing it, but you're doing it.
Yes.
You're starting to make better decisions, better based on what resonates more with you. That to me is, as you do that, you start dropping the things that are keeping your frequency low. That means your frequency is going up, even if you're just dropping the lower frequency things. Your average frequency is going up. Well, if you're doing that, what happens? You're letting in more light. Well, if you're letting in more light, you're messing with time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's already started, and I think it's just a matter of time before people really get it. And I think it's not something you have to go study for. I think these energy waves and then the activations starts unlocking the knowings. It's not something you go learn.
Right.
You've already learned it. It's already embedded in you. It's embedded in all your cells. It's just a matter of unlocking it. And that's what raising your frequency is all about. As you go up in frequency, it unlocks this. You go up in frequency more, it unlocks this. You go up in frequency more, it unlocks this. Before you know it, you're messing, you're manipulating matter in some form or fashion. It may start out really small, where, if you ever seen that movie Phenomenon with John Travolta, he started out moving a paperclip with his finger. He was just making it twirl, and he was just doing that. And when he showed, his doc, he went, oh, wow, when he first saw him doing that. That's how it might start. Who knows? You may just start wiggling things just because your frequency is going up, and you don't have to do anything to go get it. It just starts happening.
Yeah, and your frequency going up, like linking back to one of your earlier things, often is slowing down. That's why you hear, so much is in the consciousness now about meditation or about, stillness, silence, being by yourself. I mean, those kind of things. It's all about the slowing down, going inside. That it seems like you're slowing things down, but you're slowing things down so that your frequency can raise up. Because if you've got all these other things going on energetically, it's canceling each other out, and you're not really taking in as much as you can, and you're going to feel harried, and things are going to pass by quickly, or you're going to miss half of your day because you're in this versus the slowing down, settling your mind, those kind of things, relieving those stressors, and that raises your frequency.
Yeah. There's a lot of sci-fi movies that deal with time travelers or time paradoxes. The Interstellar movie with what's his name? I can't think of his name.
You know better than ask me.
Even though that wasn't a great movie, but it was okay. They put that there as an attempt to keep us pinned in, but there's only time paradox because it's time. It's time, if you follow those paradoxes, it starts to unravel time. Because that's our ability. We have the ability to unravel time. Remember I told you a while ago, in fact, I think I put in a video, there are people here that are matter warpers.
Oh, yes.
And then there are time warpers.
Yeah.
Well, we all have the capability of being all these things. So time warpers, matter warpers, memory warpers. I think the time warpers are going to be the most prevalent, and probably the first big major appearance of all of them. Doesn't mean the other ones. I just think the other ones, the matter warpers and all that, they're probably going to be more silent about. They'll be doing it, and they'll be of the enlightened mind that they won't need to show off. They won't. But the time warpers, to me, like I said, I believe it's the weakest link in the matrix. So that's the area where I think people are going to begin unraveling the matrix. It's going to be associated with time. The good thing is, or I guess it depends on how you look at it, is we're not going to from being in fourth dimension, fourth dimension, and moving to fifth dimension, we are not going to fully unravel time. Being in a dimension almost, well, at least being in the lower dimensions ensures that time is still an aspect. But the unraveling of the time is a process that we can begin in 3D, 4D, and as we move into 5D. Because I believe in 5D, time still matters, but it doesn't matter as much. You've got more time. You've slowed things down. You're not speeding things. You're actually being sped up, so you're moving up in frequency, but it causes our perception of things around us to be slowed. It's like that quarterback. They think the game just seemed to slow down.
Yeah, I read something today on it was around quantum physics, and it had been published in a journal. So pay attention as you see things because they're starting to come out now. But it was talking about that very thing: the outside moving so fast, but the inside was slow in slow motion. And so they're starting to explain some of these things. And honestly, if you think about travel, like we think about spaceships or stuff like that, a lot of those mechanics are going to be around how quickly and how slowly things move, and it breaks the bonds of a lot of things that we have on this planet.
Yeah,
in the way it is.
Well, I think in reading a lot of the comments online, one of the common things is people are saying things are taking too long.
No.
And we need full disclosure. How come full disclosure is not happening? My opinion is it's already happening.
Yes, it is happening.
Did you think that full disclosure was going to happen from the federal government? No. It's happening because we're doing it.
Yes.
We're finding these things out. Where's it coming from? I say it's coming from the consciousness of now. Everyday people are connecting to collective consciousness and pulling these things down, and then they're writing articles or doing videos on it.
Yes.
Then we share it, and then you can believe it or not believe it, and whether or not it resonates with you, but it is now entered into the consciousness on this planet. That's disclosure.
Yes.
Whether people believe it or not doesn't really matter. But it's entering the consciousness, so anyone can go check that book out.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is it enters into the consciousness of this planet's library, and now anyone can go read it. It's there. It doesn't matter that the United States government or intelligence agencies have locked it down and said it's national security or whatnot. It doesn't matter. they don't have a monopoly on this information. It's actually available to anyone who can pull it down from the Akashic or from, collective consciousness. And then once they get it, if they understand what they're getting and they can pull it in and do their own magic on the word magic on it, then they can do videos and write articles on it. And then we start bouncing around amongst ourselves and start talking about it. The cream will rise to the crop. The rest of it will fall away.
Yeah, because you might, you read or hear or whatever, and you can then add to it because it's going to trigger some knowing in you. You're going to pull some stuff down. You can contribute as well. So that's how we work it together. It's not, like you said, why would the federal government disclose something that's going to, cause them to have less power? They're not going to do it if it's going to be counter for them. So it's going to be through us and among us. Yeah.
Well, it's like this list. Okay. It's about time. It's all about time and about our realization of time and whatnot. But I haven't heard anyone put time like this. I'm not saying I'm all right and no one else knows this or whatever. I can't worry about whatever everyone. This is what came to me. This resonated with me. I was able to put it find the words, and then now we're doing a video on it and we're sharing it. Because I don't want to hoard anything. I want everyone to have the future they want. Yeah. Because when everyone's happy, then everyone's happy. I'm happy. You're happy. We're contributing with each other. We're moving further along, and no one's controlling us. That's what I want. So if I can contribute to disclosure through some small way, I'm going to do it. I don't know that I get to pick or consciously go pick when and how I do it. I think it just comes to me, just like you. Like, where do your ideas come from?
Well, it's interesting too, because if we think back a couple days ago when we were kind of exploring this before you even got this, was and this is how it works, right? So you get a little topic and you start to, if you're in the present moment and you're not thinking about what you're going to do the next minute or what you have to do tomorrow, and you're just there, then something will come up. And I don't even know how we got on the topic of time, but it was like you sit with it, and then it's like I would contribute something, and then you would contribute something, and then I would contribute something, and it was like it was unfolding in the moment as we were playing with it. And we've talked before about we should keep a recorder on all the time, because it's fascinating, because it's not like you're going to get everything. Sometimes it does come like a complete download. Sometimes it's just a little topic, and you can throw it out there, and as long as you're not in the critical mode of saying, oh, that's right or wrong, or oh my gosh, what's that going to mean, and you just play with it, then more will come, and somebody else might get a little bit more in that conversation, and then you add more to it, and it really paints a nice picture, and everything starts to then unfold. So, and then days later, you get additional things come out, and download, and you'll see things play out, or you'll have these interesting conversations come across your path, or something that you start to read is like all of a sudden you're interested in it because you've just unlocked something for yourself in a conversation before. And you can continue to grow and add like that. And we're all doing that, finding it for ourselves. We are working disclosure for ourselves. It's not going to be given to us. It's us to find it and pull it in.
Well, I'm of the opinion that we're either in the mode of being open-minded and willing to question even our deepest, darkest thing. And consider whether or not we're being egotistical about something, even if it doesn't look egotistical. It just looks like it's self-serving, or it's you cul-de-sacking something because someone's talking about something that you don't know more than them. They know more than you, and that hits your ego a certain way. So you end up saying, "Oh, well, I know this," or I know that, or whatever. You end up cul-de-sacking it. Well, that's a form of sabotage. But you're not sabotaging them. You're sabotaging yourself. So to me, you're either in self-sabotage mode or you're not. If you're not, it's being open-minded. And I know that sounds black or white, but it really is. You're either willing to open yourself to what's coming in from the galactic center, to all these energy waves, and you have the capability of contacting the collective consciousness and pull down what you might consider disclosure or just knowledge, or you're not.
Yeah.
You're not there. You can't believe it. It's too mystical or it's too beyond you. That's okay. That's, you probably volunteered to come here and said, I want mine to be twice as hard as most everyone else.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that because that's kind of the thing I would do sometimes.
Yeah.
So more power to you. I applaud you for taking the hard way because someone had to do it. But I'm optimistic and think, well, we're all going to come around. We're all come around because how do I know? Because these energy waves are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. They're unlocking more, activating more. And it's just a matter of time until we're all basically getting downloads and realizing, holy crap, I didn't know that 5 minutes ago. And now I know how this worked and what really happened during World War II and what was going on there and who, what they're trying to tell us on the mainstream media is that's complete. I mean, plus, I mean, the mainstream media's days are numbered. I mean, the big kahuna is under attack right now.
Yeah.
Their days are definitely numbered. Their ratings have fallen through the basement. So it's just a matter of time, and just so people know, the big banks, they're in huge trouble. They're in huge trouble. They're letting us know that the Fed puts out in the repo market, but other markets too, so many billions of dollars every night, every evening or whatnot. They put out so many $1 billion that are available. Okay. And you would think if the banks are in good working order, they shouldn't have to tap into that. Well, not only are they tapping into it 100%, they're overprescribed by 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like emergency
and it's every
funds.
day now. And then you can go find out. It's out there. I mean, it's out there on zerohedge.com, or you can check Road to Ruda, Vic's Weir.
Yeah.
He's got some good articles on it. And don't take his word for it. Don't take one source's word for it. Look around. The banks are in trouble. You can see. I like to look at context of things. And the banks have been in power for a long time, but they weren't supposed to be. They've known throughout history how long an institution, a currency, can remain in power or in effect before it starts, it starts to crumble. So they know when it's time to shift. Well, right now they must be under attack because they should have already shifted by now, and they're not. And it's like they're riding this burning ship and they can't get off of it.
Yep. And some of them are it's so drastic. Some of them are being investigated. Top ones are being investigated for various issues and crimes.
Yeah. I mean,
so, I mean, you just don't see it in the news, but it's there.
JP Morgan is in danger of losing its banking license because there isn't just like one person from JP Morgan who's caught rigging the, say, silver market. There's many. There's many. They've been investigated, and there are certain organizations that didn't want to put themselves there because they didn't want to go against the banks. Well, now the DOJ is involved, and they're willing to go there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So it's just a matter of time until the cracks become obvious to everyone in the public. It's becoming obvious to the people who have open eyes and are actually venturing out and going and looking there. Those are the people that are motivated to go do it. Doesn't mean they're smarter or anything. Just means that they're motivated to go look because they know they feel it. Something's not right. Something's going on. something's happening right now. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's happening right now. Just because we don't see mainstream media is doing everything they can to hide it. Well, mainstream media is now under attack too.
Yeah, and for the we talked about busyness and slowing down. I mean, if you're so busy with all of your life is so full of activities, those are the ones who are really, they see that they don't have time to go look and see about it. But it's going to hit everybody. And, so slowing down and trying to absorb and consider these things and pay attention.
Yeah, and these aren't
will help you.
And these aren't scare tactics.
No.
Remember, I said our world is a world of destruction and creation. Well, the old system is crumbling, but in its place is a new system, and that's the one that's based on our intent.
Yeah,
that's the one we're bringing up. And I believe there are forces already and have been working on it for quite some time, just waiting for our intent. They're not waiting for a date. They're waiting for our intent to say, okay, we're ready. Go ahead and start that new financial system and get rid of the bankers.
Yeah.
How do I know? It's already starting. It's all the pieces of the old system are now under attack. The pharmaceutical industry, the banking industry. I mean, they're all under attack in some form or fashion. So it's like there are forces out there that are putting them under pressure, and now they're starting to boil, and then they gauge our reaction to say, are the people ready? If it didn't happen today where it finally crumbled, then they're saying, oh, they're not quite ready yet. They're not running the show. We are. They're checking with us to see if we're ready. What does it mean to be ready? Meaning your eyes are open. You're saying, I'm not going to lose my mind because banks start crumbling. I'm going to say, good. What's
next?
What's next? Let's get the stuff that's going to work for us better. The things that resonate at a higher frequency. Let's start getting those things together. And then when we do, things are going to change quickly. It's not going to be like this gradual thing. We've already done gradual.
Yeah.
Now we're going into exponential. And we're playing with time. It's going to happen quickly because time is elastic. We're playing with it. We're pushing it around. And instead of putting things together and sequencing things to give us tyranny and corruption and everything, we're now playing with that ratio and the sequencing to start giving us the land of milk and honey.
Yeah, because we definitely, anything we talk about is definitely not to get into the fear mode, because that's not the energy we want. It's more into the curiosity and step into it and want something different than what we have today. I mean, we see what's going on at the federal level, and you can go into a fear mode or, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Or you can go, yeah, we need something different. Let's put this energy here.
It boils down to if you're fearing, then you've got something to clear.
Exactly.
So that's for you to go away and deal with.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was because you heard us or you heard someone, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like someone telling you, hey, you've got toilet paper stuck to your shoe.
Right.
I would rather someone tell me so I can go fix it. That's what's happening. So hopefully there's more and more people willing to come forward and say, hey, I had a weird dream last night. In this dream, we didn't have banks anymore. We actually, everyone just had credit, and they just moved things where they needed it, and it was more on trading things, and they just outlined it looked more like kind of like Star Trek, maybe with a little bit of Star Wars mixed in, but without the Empire and this. That's we need that in there, because that puts it into our collective consciousness, and then we can kind of bat it around and and see who likes it and who resonates with it. And if more and more people resonate with it, it will gain more energy, and it will start to glow with more and more light, and more people will start to see it then. That's what we're trying to do, is get these things into the collective consciousness, at least the collective consciousness that's down here on Earth, kind of like the child of the all collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Get it flowing here. But there are people that are here who are getting in touch with the big collective consciousness. Those are the people pulling it down and disclosing things. We shouldn't be afraid of those things. It should be like engaging our fantasies, our fantasy thinking, and saying, hey, what if? What if we didn't have banks anymore? What if we didn't have to worry about being in debt? What if we didn't have to worry about paying off a house or paying off a car?
Yeah.
What if we didn't have to pay to live?
Right. I mean, think about how that would change your whole every day. I mean, you don't have
what
to
if
worry
you
about
weren't so beholden to time?
Yeah.
What if you had all the time in the world?
Yeah.
What if you were telepathic? So you didn't need a phone anymore. Someone could just contact you, or you could just tap into them anytime you want and find out, oh, so-and-so is ready for coffee. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
leaving.
exactly. Yeah.
So
play with that. Imagine that, play in that imagination and talk to each other about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we just get the conversations going, get people meeting up or just talking, and I mean, a lot of people might say, well, I don't think they're that open-minded. Right? They may not have been a week ago.
Yeah.
A lot's changing. Time is changing to people. So family, friends that you thought were closed-minded, they might not be anymore.
Yeah, we're all awakening. Yeah, definitely. Good conversation. That was fun. Anything else to add to this one?
Nope. Hope you're feeling better, Jenny.
Yep, sending love to all of you. So, yeah. So, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Bye.